Welcome to the Pet Loss Journals podcast. I am your host Louise. This podcast is all about the reality and impact pet loss has on our lives, and I will be discussing my personal journey through pet loss. So if you are struggling on your own pet loss journey, then this is the podcast for you. Welcome to episode 6. Thank you so much for coming along on this journey with me into looking back into my journal entries from when both of my dogs tragically passed away in 2019. I share these vulnerable pieces of journal entries each week with you simply because I want to spread awareness that pet loss grief is so valid and it's so intense, raw, real, painful, all of the things that people feel. That is my reason for doing this. So I do thank you for coming along on this journey with me. I appreciate it so much more than you even know. This week I will be sharing a very vulnerable journal entry that I struggled to decide on whether to share this on the podcast or not. But I've decided to, yes, just do it. Just do it, Louise, because people need to hear this. People may connect with this. People may feel like they're not going crazy, that they are less alone if you share this journal entry. So I decided, yes, okay, I'm going to share this. I won't waste any time. I will get straight into sharing this week's journal entry. This journal entry is from the 10th of November 2019. I got through my first week back at work better than I thought I would. There were a few evenings after work where I couldn't stop crying. It was like the grief was held in all day at work, and it just came out when I got home. My friends have gone above and beyond for me this week. This Sunday night, it has left me feeling with an overwhelming feeling of pure gratitude. I am so incredibly lucky to have such support at this horrible time in my life from my friends. I think about the dogs so many times during the day, but I try not to get too upset because Ozzy hated seeing me crying. I didn't want to give up on my life, but there have been times where dark thoughts have flooded my mind, feeling that I have no purpose anymore. Because now I am only responsible for myself. I am trying to get through each day as best I can. So that is my journal entry from the 10th of October 2019. And you may have guessed why this one was a struggle for me to speak about. And mainly it was a struggle because I mentioned that I don't want to give up on my life, but that there have been times where dark thoughts have flooded my mind. This was my truth. This was my reality. This is how I felt at the time. Because this is something that was scary for me to share, simply because really nobody knew the extent of how I was feeling. Nobody knew I was having dark thoughts. Nobody did. I know that there are some of you listening that can relate to this, that have even felt this. And I want you to know that I see you, I hear you, I'm with you, I was there too. I don't understand exactly what you're going through, but I hear you and see you. We all experience things differently. But I want to share that this is something that I went through, that I felt, and that no, I wasn't crazy. This was grief. This was what was happening to me because I lost two of the most beautiful animals in my whole entire life. They were my babies, they were my children, they were everything to me, they were my whole world, they were my responsibility, they were the reason I got up in the morning. They're linked to so much in my life, and then that just vanished and disappeared. And of course, it's so normal to have dark thoughts, and I want you to hear that. It is so normal to have dark thoughts when you are grieving so intensely a connection with your animal that was incredibly, incredibly important and special and dear to your heart, way stronger than maybe some human connections that you've had in your life. And I want to reiterate that. I also want to highlight that at the time I had 2 or 3 really, really close friends that were there for me. And they empathized with me and they listened to me, which was such a comfort, such a help to me. And at the time, some of my friends may have said, I don't understand exactly how you're feeling, I haven't been there and I don't know what to say, but they were honest, and their honesty was comfort, and their hugs were comfort, and they didn't judge me, and they didn't criticize me, they didn't tell me time will heal, they didn't tell me to move on. They sat there and held space for me when I needed it the most. And if there are some close people in your life that you can open up to, I urge you to please share with them how you're feeling, even if it's one sentence to share with them. I'm really struggling. The grief I'm feeling is horrendous. One sentence, share with one of your best friends. Be honest with them. Say you don't need your friends to know exactly how you feel. They don't need to have gone through it. If you have empathetic people in your life, those are the people to share with. That would be my advice to you. If you feel that you don't have anyone that you can share with or open up to, keep listening to this podcast. Keep listening here. This is a space for you to learn how to open up, to learn how to journal, to learn how to create healing within your life, even if you don't have anyone to share those deep emotional truths with. Also, I do mention that I was filled with overwhelming feeling of pure gratitude, and I think it's important to mention this because I wanted to show that in the midst of grief that I could still feel gratitude, even though often we're filled with a lot of dark and negative emotions when we are grieving, even when it's very recent. But also I want to highlight that I was filled with this pure gratitude because my friends were going above and beyond for me at the time, and I felt this pure gratitude, and I felt that such comforting support at that horrible time in my life, like I mentioned. Try to sit still this week or soon with yourself and journal something that 3 things that you're grateful for in your life. I know that you're in the midst of pain, I know. But is there a friend that you're grateful for? Do you have another animal companion in your household that you are grateful for? Your partner? Nature, the countryside, the wind on your skin, the sea, anything, one thing that you're grateful for that helps you to feel a little bit more at peace and still, even for a moment. Write those 3 things down. Write those 3 things down and just reflect on them. I know it's hard to find gratitude when you're in the middle of grief, but having that in the back of your mind, that what am I grateful for, even though I feel that my life at the minute is completely upside down and I am consumed daily with grief. What am I grateful for within that, in the midst of all of that? Can you pluck out 2 or 3 things that you are grateful for? People, places, things, tastes, sounds, sights, anything. I did mention that the first week back at work was better than I had thought. But also I highlighted that in the evenings after work, I couldn't stop crying, and that holding in the grief all day was difficult. And I spoke a lot about grieving at work last week, but just reflecting on my words in that journal entry just now, that I do remember coming home in the evenings and stepping in the door and just the floodgates opening and releasing all of that emotional energy that was pent up and locked away all day in work, and releasing it. That was important for me to release it. It was coming anyway. As soon as I closed that door behind me and I knew that I was alone in a place where I felt safe, the emotion came out. But it's difficult to try and hold that in all day. And I hold compassion for you if you're in the middle of doing that. And I hope that last week's episode, from listening to it, that you may have considered some time off from whatever you're doing in your life at the minute. Have a listen back on last week's if you feel guided to do that. So there was a lot in this particular journal entry, but most importantly, the fact that I mentioned again that I felt that I had no purpose, because I am the only one responsible for myself now. That I am only responsible for me. I'm not responsible for both of my dogs. I'm just responsible for me. And that I felt like I didn't have a purpose. And a lot of people feel like that. A lot of my clients have felt like that when they speak to me about a recent pet loss that they're going through, that their sense of purpose is gone. Those dark thoughts that flood your mind are what comes with grief. But I want to give you hope that I am no longer consumed with those dark thoughts, that I didn't give up on my life. I looked and I searched and I found something that helped me to heal. And I found a way to start to feel better within myself. And I know that you can too. Keep listening to this podcast. If that's the most that you can do, keep listening every week. And know that you're not alone. And know that if you are having dark thoughts and that you feel like you've no purpose and that you don't want to give up on your life, but you feel that it's so difficult, please know that you're not alone. There are ways to take that one step, like I mentioned in the last few episodes, to take that one step. And as I want to come to the end of this episode, I often speak about taking that first step, the one step to take, that first step to maybe start healing from this absolutely incredibly painful loss that you're going through. And so I want to mention that on the 29th of August, which is Tuesday 29th of August, I will be beginning another one of my online pet loss group support programs, and I have been doing these for many months now. But I wanted to mention this on my podcast because there may be some of you that are listening that are wondering, what can I do? What can I do right now to start to heal, to feel like part of a community, to feel like I can begin on this journey of healing? I want to speak a little bit about what these pet loss group support programs are all about that I facilitate. Briefly, these are 6-week programs, and these are educational based programs but have huge therapeutic benefits. Huge. Who is the program for? So the program is for pet parents or guardians, and when I say guardians, I mean you don't have to have owned a companion animal to have felt grief from their death. This can be a person that has been caring for the animal, be that in a veterinary scenario or a pet sitter, dog walker, family friend, relative. That is what I mean by a guardian. For pet parents or guardians who have lost an animal due to death, disappearance, or rehoming, recently or some time ago. This program is also for anyone who is anticipating the death of their animal companion. And what's involved in the program, it's once a week we meet online through Zoom for 6 weeks, and the program materials will be posted to you prior to the program starting. The program is a step-by-step action evidence-based therapeutic program guided by myself, and I am a fully certified grief recovery specialist, and I have done this program many times for many clients in different parts of the world. What are the benefits of the program? The main benefits are the connection that you will form with the others in the group, in the Zoom rooms, in this online setting. Also the valuable skills and tools that you learn, and that these tools and skills that you learn within the program, you can utilise these throughout your life in many different loss experience scenarios, be that human, be that career loss, health loss. These are interchangeable skills, not just learning how to heal from pet loss. I think that's really important to mention. It's going to be a safe place and confidential place to open up and process difficult emotions that you are experiencing associated with pet loss, including feelings of anxiety, trauma and panic. So that is a brief description of the 6-week online program. I will give more details in the show notes, and I did this specific program a couple of years ago myself, and it helped me immensely dealing with all of the things that I speak to you about in my episodes, dealing with all of the anxiety and trauma and pain and grief and all the physical responses and emotional roller coaster of feelings that I was going through. This helped me immensely heal from the death of both of my dogs. And it just inspired me to help others, knowing that this program is out there. That is why I fully trained, and I fully trained as an advanced grief recovery method specialist. And I help people, I guide people, I take their hand and I guide them through this program, but my clients do all the work themselves. It's hard emotional work. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You don't sit there and listen to me, speak, and you're only listening. You are interacting with others. You are doing assignments in between the weekly sessions, but I am there to guide you and support you all along the way. It's incredible. It really, really is. There are only a limited number of spots available because I like to keep these groups quite small. I think volume can wash away the time allocated to people if they need to open up and share their stories and their emotions and their pain. I keep these programs very small group of people. So that's why I'm saying that there is a limited number of spots available on it. But if you have been listening along each week and you have been feeling that you need extra support, specialised support to help you get through this difficult time of the loss of your pet, click the link and register for the next Pet Loss Group Support Programme. I will leave all the details in the show notes. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this week's episode. Remember, your pet loss grief is real and it is so valid. Please be gentle on yourself. Until next time, take care.